Today it's Parenting 101, and I'm going to be talking about how to deal with mean or inappropriate behavior of preteen girls and girls. This is going to be important, so listen up. First, we're going to talk about a controversial story that's making headlines. Take a look at these bracelets. Pretty innocent looking, huh? Well, actually, some people don't think so. They're called jelly bracelets. Some people call them sex bracelets. And they're the latest trend in middle schools across the country. Now, my first guests are at odds over these bracelets. Sue says she was shocked and outraged when she discovered girls in her 9-year-old son's school were wearing these bracelets. Take a look.
The jelly bracelets are just plastic bracelets that kids wear. They secretly had hidden sexual meanings that adults and teachers had no idea what they meant. It was just between the kids.
A black bracelet means that you have to go and have sex with the other person that broke it. Purple's French kissing. I know that a lot of them are like oral sex.
The process is you wear the bracelets on your arm, and if it gets broken, you're supposed to follow the sexual meaning that goes along with it.
Like a boy gives a girl a bracelet, and if the girl breaks it, that the boy that gave it to her, she has to have sex with him.
I see the little glances that the kids give to each other, you know, when they are wearing them, so I know that there are hidden meanings.
I am a Marion County School Board member. My son right now is in the 5th grade. He's the youngest of my 3 children. I happen to know there was one child in his class that wore the bracelets. I'm absolutely appalled, and I'm devastated that it's the age of the children that are discussing it, that we have 9 and 10 and 11-year-old kids. How awful is it as adults that we've allowed society to erode to the fact that lap dancing is something that's cool in middle school? And I mean, that just makes me sick.
Sure, it's just a little rubber, you know, a little piece of plastic.
One school has already banned the bracelets, and they made a conscious decision to just put a memo out to the parents and say, look, this is what they mean. We don't want the kids wearing them, and please keep them from bringing them in. I believe it might be infringing on their freedom of expression if we said they can never, ever wear the bracelets. I don't care if kids wear the bracelets at home. I don't want them wearing them in our public schools.
Brian, on the other hand, lets his 13-year-old daughter wear them, even though she's been warned not to by school officials. Take a look.
I don't get what all the fuss is about. They're little bracelets and they couldn't mean that big of a thing.
Come on, Jay, we gotta go to school, honey. My daughter's 13 years old, just now starting to get to like boys, but not too much, because I control a little bit on that one. Very good girl, does good in school, has no problem, has lots of friends. She has been wearing the bracelets. Been wearing them about 2 months now. Even after instances at school where the principal tried to rule they couldn't wear them. Bye, honey. If you have any problems, you let me know, okay? Okay. She came home crying from school one day, afraid she was gonna get expelled from school, afraid the principal was gonna take the bracelets from her. I still told her to wear them every day because what the principal is doing is wrong. It's not her job to worry about what the kids are wearing as a fashion statement. It's her job to educate the kids.
I wear them for fashion because I like them. I want to buy more, but also I don't want to get in trouble at school. I have 7 of them right now. I have pink, clear, red, and blue.
A lot of kids at my daughter's school didn't know what the color coding meant. I know my daughter didn't know what that meant. My daughter was totally surprised as I was.
The only ones I know are the red and blue ones, which mean a lap dance, and a blue one mean oral sex. I don't really get why, and I understand that she doesn't want us going off and doing all this bad stuff. Some of us might end up pregnant, but some of us don't wear them for that reason.
I don't think the principal has the right to touch the kids, let alone take the bracelets away from the kids at all. So I'm a strong believer in freedom of speech, freedom of expression. If we lose that, what's next?
We invited school officials from Bryan's school district in Mansfield, Ohio, to be here today, but they declined our offer. So you're here kind of talking about your side of it, but of course they disagree with you.
Yes, sir, they do.
Okay, now let me ask you guys, do you have any idea whether this is really an active reality in middle schools across the country, or is this an urban legend that lives on the internet?
Well, I believe all over the country we've heard cases of children having sex in schools. I mean, there's been all kinds of cases reported and arrests made.
But that was before they had a bracelet
And
on.
I'm not saying the bracelets contributed to it, but what if they do? What if, I mean, how as adults can we allow our children to go out into schools and to wear these bracelets and say, let's turn the other cheek, let's not worry about it, it's no big deal. They're in the classroom at the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade level, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and they're talking about oral sex, they're talking about lap dancing, they're talking about sexual intercourse. As a parent, when you send your child out the door in the morning to go to school, you hope that they go to school to get a good education and that they come home at the end of the day and they've learned something and that they were safe. What's to say, you know, this beautiful little girl and her bracelets, she's free to wear them, but God forbid a child who is more mature than her comes up and snaps a bracelet off her arm, and she doesn't want to do something he wants her to do, but he forces her to do something because she had the bracelet on. How would you feel if your child got raped because of these bracelets, knowing there's connotations to them, sexual overtones?
Wait a minute. Hold on. We've gone from wearing them to having sex to being raped if you don't. I mean, isn't that a bit of an alarmist attitude?
No, it is my job to provide children with a safe and good education in my county.
Right.
And I take my job very serious as an elected official, elected by the people, that I set policy in my county.
What do you think about this?
I think the kids are going to have sex regardless of bracelets or not. It's up to the parent to raise your child properly. You install the proper morals and values in your child. They'll know there's between right and wrong. They're going to use a bracelet to have sex. They're going to have sex whether they want to or not. You as a parent should educate your kid and let them know that what's right and what's not wrong. And the schools has no right telling our kids what they can and cannot wear. Freedom of expression, what have it. It's their job to educate our children.
Well, actually, the truth is they do have the right to do that. And I think even the ACLU, who I think you've talked to, will tell you that while kids do have rights in schools, and I think it was Tinker versus Des Moines that established that kids do have the right to expression in school, but I think it also says that if it materially or substantially disrupts the flow of the educational process, that the school has the right to kind of stiff-arm that. So the school does have the right to set certain boundaries.
And
now, everything can be challenged, but they certainly have the right to set the boundaries. But I want to ask you something about what you said to us. You said, and I quote, "We don't want kids talking about sex in the schools." Now, you don't think that just started with these bracelets, do you?
Absolutely not.
And you don't think that removing those bracelets will stop that talk, do you?
No, but I think it's stimulating conversation. The bracelets are stimulating conversation, which has proven to be disruptive. We've had cases in our schools where it has been disruptive, and that's why one of my teams of administrators at one of our schools did ban the bracelets. And you saw the children that's...
Sure. And they were pretty informed about it, right?
Right, and they knew.
Well, today we're talking about preteen girls who are out of control or misbehaving in some way. Now, right now we're talking about the jelly bracelets, and I'm not meaning to suggest that certainly your daughter's here, that she's out of control in any way. That comes after we talk about the bracelets. Now, Sue is a parent and a school board member who is upset that girls in her district are wearing jelly bracelets, and it may be part of some kind of sex game, even if they're just talking about it instead of doing it. And she says they should be banned from the school. Brian strongly disagrees. He says these bracelets are a fashion statement, and his 13-year-old daughter should be allowed to wear them despite the fact that they're trying to stop them at her school. Now, one of the things you said, Brian, is that it's your job to raise the child.
Yes, sir.
And it's the school's job to educate them.
Yes, sir, that's right.
And let me just speak for teachers who aren't here right now. They would certainly be happy for parents to do that.
Yes, I
okay,
agree.
but they sometimes wind up inheriting that because a lot of parents don't do that, perhaps as actively as you might do. But so is this really about the bracelets, or is it really about the boundaries in the division of labor?
I think it's about the boundaries where they overstep their boundaries. And also what she said, that they don't want to talk about sex in their schools. We need to educate our kids about sex. Instead of treating it as a void, you don't want to talk about it. Talk to our kids about it, educate them about it. Instead of hiding it like it's such a hush-hush thing.
If kids were having sex on the campus, in the buildings, at your school, like we've had in some of the schools around the country where there's just a real outbreak of that, would you be calling the school and complaining?
Oh, yes, I would.
Well, but wait a minute. What you're saying is it's your job to let that not happen, but it's their job to be sure it doesn't happen at school. But when they take measures to quell anything leading in that direction, then you don't want them to. That seems to me to be contradictory.
I don't think they should ban the bracelets in school because kids aren't using those bracelets to have sex. I think it's just a fad. They're talking about it. And the school system my daughter goes to, they're not having sex in the schools. It's also the teachers to make sure that the kids are watched over, I should say.
Sure. So if you just don't believe that they're having this active sex game at school, if they were, then you would say, absolutely, I would support you eliminating them, but you just don't think that it's really happening, it's just a fashion fad.
No, I mean, they're not going to use, kids are going to have sex. They're not going to use bracelets to have sex. They're going to have sex. Regardless if you tell them they can or cannot, whether they wear certain type of clothing or bracelets, they're going to have sex regardless.
Okay, what do you say about that?
Well, you know, I want to make parents aware. It is a silly little plastic bracelet, but he's made a good point. Parents are responsible for raising their children, and parents need to talk to their children about these issues. My whole reason for bringing it forward was so parents would speak to their kids and say, this is inappropriate, you're too young, we'll talk about it when you're old enough to understand.
All right, was your school board, and Cynthia, are you a member of the school board? You're the vice principal at the school.
Correct.
But that means you're not on the board.
I'm not on the board.
You're administration at the school.
Administrator of the school.
Okay. And were you guys, school board and administration, do you have an active dialogue about sexuality and your kids before these bracelets came along? Has this been on the board's meeting agenda each month or on a regular basis or with the school? Is this something you guys address, or are you focusing on the symbol of the bracelet?
I can say that he had made a valid point, and this addresses yours. It is our job to help in the education of sexual activities and their sexuality at school. We do that. The bracelets, we were not aware of this situation until the beginning of the school year. And how we came aware of what was going on was by the students. They brought it to our attention. It is our job to provide a safe environment for them to receive an appropriate education. And if we've learned anything over the years, it's we need to listen to our children.
So you think it rose to a level that it became something active in the school, that whether the sex was happening or not, it was on their minds, they were talking about it, there was pressure if one of the things broke.
Exactly.
They're supposed to snap it off.
And not only
right?
did I think that, the students told us
Well, no, that's
that.
what I mean. You're getting reports of
We
that.
got reports, as we do. Most of the information we receive is from our students.
Right, but now, and y'all are at different schools. You're in Florida and you're in Ohio.
Absolutely.
Okay, but what she's telling you is this has gone beyond theory down there. It's beyond a media, internet phenomenon, that there are kids feeling pressure about this. The rhetoric is raising among the kids about sexuality and that sort of thing. Were that true in your school, would you support them saying, look, we're just not going to have those here. I don't want anybody feeling uncomfortable?
Truthfully, I don't know because, like I said, where will they stop? What's next? Bracelets are no more distraction than, say, a watch is. Kids are going to use anything they have an excuse for anything. Why should we blame the bracelets for kids having sex?
So you think that rather than respond to the bracelets, they should respond to the rhetoric and to the interactions.
Yes, sir.
And not to the bracelets?
Yes.
Okay. This is your daughter, AJ. Does anybody bug you about the bracelets at your school?
No.
There's no conversation or rhetoric about it? Would you tell us if there was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
You know, and that's one case, and I don't know anything about your school district at all, and we're not just talking about your daughter or your school district. I am responsible for 40,000 students in Marion County, and I take that responsibility very strongly. We have had incidences in the past of different sexual types of things that have happened on school buses and in school bathrooms. I mean, whether it was attributed to the bracelets or not, I'd have to say it probably wasn't. But
Okay,
we
but if
can't
that's-
continue to allow that to go on.
But if that's true, I asked you a few minutes ago, and you said you're responsible for 40,000 kids. You mean the board?
The board.
Okay. And some of them disagree with you. If that's true, I asked you a few minutes ago, if you had this on the agenda where you guys regularly talked about sexuality, sex education, sexual prevention, any of those things if you had that on the regular agenda and you said no?
No, we don't.
Well, if it's happening on the buses, and why are y'all not talking about it?
Now, we talk about it in discipline matters because this becomes a discipline issue to us. And when children do have sex on campus, they are disciplined. It is, it is unacceptable to have sex in schools. That is my position. It is unacceptable for children to come in and talk about inappropriate things in school. They're coming to get a good education. They're not coming to share with their neighbor at lunch about lap dancing or oral sex or anything of that nature. They're not, if we didn't punish children for having sex at school, then it'd be free-for-all and, kids are like, hey, we got away with it, you do it. Like he says, kids are going to have sex, unfortunately. However, there's a time and a place for everything, and it's gotten to a point in life where we need to say, you're going to school to learn.
Where I come down on this is I think that parents, school board, and administrators need to have an active and open dialogue about what's going on in the schools and what's impacting the kids. You say it's your job to raise them, but the truth is that the teachers and administrators probably spend more hours during the day with your child than you do. And that means that they do have a meaningful impact on their moral development and evolution. And it's got to be a partnership. It's got to be a cooperation. This shouldn't be something that is adversarial. And it doesn't mean you have to agree about everything, but you have to discuss it, and the decision has to be made that puts the best interest of the kids above everything else. And it's not one passionate personality, because it shouldn't be what you want. It should be what's best for the kids. And in this situation, you see those fully aligned, so there's no problem there, but it's about what's best for the kids. And have these bracelets started this? I think absolutely not. Do they contribute to it? And the silent reaction or non-reaction to them, is that some kind of a validation that it's okay and acceptable? That's an absolute danger, and you have to be careful about that. Censorship is dangerous, and I think the real problems here lie with the morality of the kids and the fact that we live in a world where they don't understand that relationships and maturity comes first, commitment and sexuality comes next. There are a lot of kids today, 8th and 9th graders, that will tell you that oral sex is less personal than kissing. And that means we have an absolute upside-down value system. Natalie and her husband, Dan, are at wit's end. They say their sweet 10-year-old daughter, Adelia, has suddenly become the school bully, and they don't know why. Take a look.
Adelia has always had trouble getting along with other kids because she's bossy, she's mean to them, she says things that really hurt them.
People do hate Adelia. It's classmates that don't like her, it's parents that don't like her, and it's teachers.
It's getting to the point where she is becoming more physical. This girl made her angry.
I started hitting her and saying, I hate you. And scratched her. She wouldn't listen to me. I was shaking her.
I adopted Adelia in September. We struggled because we have nothing in common. I did really, really well in school. She does not do well in school. I am very even-tempered. She loses her temper very, very easily. Our personalities just are extremely different.
Adelia's biological mother was extremely emotional and very dominating and always very bossy.
Adelia will be mean to somebody and then not understand why they won't be her friend. The other students formed a club at school, the I Hate Adelia Club. She's stealing. Adelia's obsessed with food. She lost all of her friends at school and got in trouble because she was taking their food off their plates.
My greatest fear is that Adelia will be hated and won't be able to succeed in life.
This is extremely upsetting for me. I feel like there's nothing I can do to help her.
If we don't get this under control, then it will get worse.
Dr. Phil, I've run out of ideas. How do I prevent my daughter from becoming a teenage terror?
Well, first off, I need to say a few things here that I think are really important. Adelia, I can tell you, is not an evil child, okay? And I think sometimes when there is really maladaptive behavior, it's awfully easy to kind of demonize the child. Tell me what her good qualities are.
She is a wonderful heart. As far as she is always wanting to help me around the house. She is very loving towards her brother and her sister, my two little ones. She is very, very creative, artistic.
But yet she's aggressive and assertive, and you've seen her hurtful towards others.
She will do things, say things, and she doesn't realize that they're mean and then doesn't understand why people don't like her.
Okay, well now that's something different than what you have described. I mean, it's a different interpretation than I think what you've described before, because what you're describing is a lack of empathy. And some children have a lack of empathy. They don't realize that what they're doing is hurtful to the other person. You sometimes see them hurt the cat or the dog because they don't have the ability to say, I know what it feels like to be scared or hurt, and so the cat or dog or my friend must be scared or hurt. That's a lack of empathy, and that's one possibility. The other is that inside she's feeling anger and pain and hurt, and she has a philosophy of get them before they get me. I'm gonna lash out, I'm gonna do something so I don't have to fear rejection. I'll get them and reject them, hurt them before they have a chance to do it to me. You know her. Which of that two choices, what do you think is going on?
Can it be both?
It can be both.
I think that there is an aspect of both in her life, and I know that any time I have set up for her to do something fun, something wonderful with me, she will sabotage it.
Yeah, see, one of the things that I think we have to understand about kids, when they do this, there is a common denominator that is always there, and it is low self-esteem. It is low self-esteem. They don't feel worthy of it. They don't think they'll be able to handle it. They don't think they're deserving of it. And so they will do something to prove that. It's like, I'm going to test the waters here. I'm going to sabotage this so I can say, see, she didn't really want to take me. She didn't really want to be with me. I didn't really deserve to get to do that. And so it kind of validates and proves this personal truth that she's living. And that tells us that what has to happen is we've got to change that. I'm afraid that if there's a reaction to just the behavior, where the behavior is punished, like, all right, if you do that, you're going to be punished, then that just feeds the belief that that's all I deserve, that's all I'm worthy. You're making me mad because you punish me, you ground me, you yell at me, you spank me, you don't let me have my friends, you take away my things. So again, it just feeds into the anger and the problem even more. Natalie says her 10-year-old daughter is becoming one tough cookie in school. She's already been suspended for hitting and pushing another girl without being provoked. Dan and Natalie say they don't know what to do with her because she's getting so out of control. Tell me what you think about what I was saying before we took our break. And why is that so hard for you to hear?
Adelia really wanted to have a mom in her life. And when Dan and I got married, we started this life together, and I thought I could do that for her and I can give that to her. And she pushes me away because I think she's afraid I'm going to leave. And I don't know what to do.
Realities for children die hard. And, let's think about what's happened here. She has a biological mom who is probably not the best role model for these kind of behaviors because she was bossy, pushy, aggressive herself. Correct?
Yes.
All right. Or that's the report that I have. I don't know her. I don't mean to label her, but that's the information I have. But then she goes. She's gone. So abandonment at that point. Okay, then Dan, through the normal process, dates some different women. So they cycle through and then gone. Cycle through, gone. Cycle through, gone. Now you're here. Why would she have any basis to predict anything other than I'm going to be left again?
I completely understand. So what do I do when she comes home every day with another problem?
Well, one of the things let's talk about what you can't do first. you can't just deal with the anger because it's nothing more than an outward manifestation of what's really going on. Because anger does nothing more than hide hurt, fear, or frustration. And what I want you to do is I want you to have conversations with her. And, you know, Dad can help in this, but right now you're real powerful in this regard. To sit down and have conversations with her where she has to describe her feelings without using the word anger. Instead of saying, I got mad, so I hit her. Okay, you can't say I got mad or I got angry. You have to say I got hurt, or I was scared, or I was frustrated, and then talk about what that is. When children lash out physically, it's because they don't know how to express it non-physically. And you have to help bring that out in her. And the number one goal that we have to do is find a way for her to begin to take real pride in who she is. We have got to find that special talent, that special skill, that special role that she can have and occupy in her life. Maybe it's in the creative arts, maybe it's in painting or music or dance, something like that. Maybe it's in martial arts. I mean, she's physical. But you know, with that comes a great degree of discipline and respect. If you will be interested in her life, and you will be forthcoming about your own. If she thought, now I'm not saying blur the boundaries, but if she thought that she had a special connection with you where you would talk to her about things you don't talk to anybody else about, then that's pretty special. And you can help redefine her in that way. This girl is lacking self-esteem, and we've got to find ways for her to observe herself achieving your love and loyalty, her dad's love and loyalty, accolades through the arts or academics or whatever, because she's had a lot to deal with. Mom comes and goes, girlfriends come and go, then you show up, what are you going to do? Then here's a new baby. Now I got this competition down here from this little munchkin. You know, so it's a busy, busy world for her. We've got to carve out that place where she feels special. She won't think I deserve rejection. I don't deserve that, so I don't have to do that to protect myself. Will you think about that?
I will.
All right, good. We've been talking about mean preteen girls and what parents can do when their daughters act like bullies or get aggressive or start doing things that are self-destructive. Leanne wrote to me because she's worried about her 12-year-old daughter who started hanging with the bad girls. Take a look.
Dear Dr. Phil, I'm a single mother of two. I have a 9-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter, Jessica. I'm not happy with some of the girls Jessica is choosing as friends. They're bullies and are mean to other kids. I find that as she gets older, I can't control who she socializes with. I've gotten calls from parents complaining that Jessica is developing a reputation for hanging out with the wrong crowd. I don't think my daughter is a mean person, but I know that she stands behind her clique when they tease other kids. Jessica says she hangs out with the wrong crowd because no one else will be her friend. I try to teach her about being kind to others, but it's falling on deaf ears. Dr. Phil, how can I help my daughter choose the right friends so I'm not raising a future bully? Sincerely, Leanne, a worried and concerned mom.
Okay. You've been sitting here listening to the show so far, and you heard me talking to Natalie about the aggressive behavior of her daughter. What do you think about all that? What have you heard or learned so far that you think is of value?
I related to a lot of what you were saying to Natalie. The self-worth has crossed my mind a lot with Jessica. When I ask her why she wants to be friends with kids like that, her response is, those are the only kids that want to be friends with me.
But doesn't it tell you, I mean, it's like out of the mouths of babes, right? Because what she's saying to you is the good kids, and so we know, A, she's into labeling, all right, because she said, you know, the good kids, the popular kids, the smart kids, you know, we have all of these little herds that we put them in. They don't want anything to do with me. There's a bunch of misfits over here, that have two attractions. Number one, if I align myself with them, maybe they won't pick on me like they do others. And the price of admission there is very low. Isn't she telling you this is the only place I have confidence I can meet the price of admission?
Absolutely.
The question becomes, how do you get her to believe in herself enough to get back in the game?
Exactly.
And stop standing on the sidelines pot-shotting at those she would really like to be accepted by. All right, Leanne says her 12-year-old daughter is starting to be nasty to her peers and is having a hard time making friends. She feels it's because she's hanging with the bullies in school. But the question is why, and that's what we're talking about. And in fact, you've had a lot of calls from moms, right? A lot. You've had 4 or 5 calls from moms that have said, I don't think my daughter ought to be playing with her anymore. What do you say to that?
I've had mixed reactions, depending on the parent.
Yeah, but you don't want to be in denial about it, right? I mean, it's
No,
not
I
about
don't.
everybody doesn't need to be friends. They're calling and saying this because she's attacking them. Right. Or that's their story. And you say she's kind of fallen in with bad kids. She may be one of the bad kids.
Right.
And so what you want to do, I mean, you need to be careful. Is she a follower or is she an instigator?
I go back and forth on that.
The whole problem here is this. I don't think a parent should be down at the school every time something happens in there trying to fix everything for their kids. But I think you can also take too much of a hands-off attitude if there is aggressive behavior going on. You need to ask yourself why. You've said from the time she was very small, she's always said, but what if? But what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? She has been very fear-motivated much of her life. Would you agree?
All of her life.
And she's had reason to be at some points, correct? I mean, there have been disruptions in her life,
Yes.
she's had things to deal with.
Yes.
But she was aggressive even before the marriage fell apart. She was aggressive even before that, which you pointed out. But weren't there problems before the actual, I mean, we don't just wake up one day and get divorced. There are problems before that, right?
Oh, yes.
So you live with all of those things. What you have to understand is that most people, all of us, not just kids, all of us, make most of our decisions based on fear. Based on fear. That's what drives most. We take this job because we're afraid we won't get another one if we don't. We marry this person because we're afraid it may be our last chance. You know, we take this offer on our house because we're afraid somebody else won't come along and buy it and we'll be stuck forever. We make fear-based decisions. And just based on statistics, you have to assume she's making some fear-based choices in her life. And so you've got to get to what is she afraid of. And I want you to start asking her 3 or 4 questions when you talk to her. Number one, I want you to ask her what she wants people to say about her when she's not around. Just ask her, I want you to just tell me what you would like people to say about you when you're gone from the cafeteria or you've been somewhere and you're gone. What would you like them to say about you? And I want you to ask her, and you may have to leverage her to do this because it's kind of like homework. I want you to ask her to write the story of her life. And like I say, you may have to bribe her to do this, but write the story of her life up till now and how she wants it to be in the future. And the reason I want you to do that is because that will give her some objectivity from her life to see what she's written down and then see what judgments she's putting on herself and what she sees for her future. And those things will become your to-do list as a mom. If you will do those things, it will force her to do some self-consideration and give you some things to put on your to-do list. That's where you need to start because this girl is doing everything she's doing out of fear. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
We've been talking about Parenting 101 again, looking this time at teenagers and what we do when they start behaving in ways that are just not fitting in well. We started the show by talking about the jelly bracelets, which have been associated with sex games in the middle schools and up. We talked about should they be banned or should the kids be allowed to wear them. So I want to ask the audience, and you only have two choices. If you think absolutely they should take those off of those kids and not let them into schools because they are stimulating sexual thought, conversation, and perhaps action, raise your hand. That's just about everybody in the building. All right, and if you think, no, that's not the problem is the kids, not what they're wearing, and you got to pick your battles, and this ain't one of them, raise your hand. Some of y'all voted twice. All right, so most of you think they should take them out because the risk is too high? Just don't feed the flames. All right, there you go.